Hey everyone, happy new year and welcome to this vision casting call. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for jumping on and wanting to spend your new year with me and with your fellow sidelines. This is so fun. When I had the idea for this call, I just thought, you know what a better way to start off the new year than with a new vision and diving deeper into that. And so I love that we get to connect all together. And so as we get started, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share a little bit more about me. Let's see. Okay, presentation. There we go. Okay, can everyone see that? All right. Okay. So first, for those of you who don't know me, I want to introduce myself a little bit. My name is Megan Milakovic, and I am a diamond with Plexus. I am a wife. I am a mom to 3 crazy boys. I'm a multi-6-figure earner, a friend, a little messy, and a goal-getter. And we wanted to put that in there, the messy part, because I want you guys to know that I am very much a real person. I do not have everything all figured out. I don't have it all together. And if you were to walk into my house right now, you'd be like, whoa, there must have been a struggle. Okay. So I just want you guys to know that no matter all the things that you see that we've been able to accomplish or dream or do, none of us are perfect. And so I think it's important to show that side. So here is, here's some of my dream boards. Okay. I am someone who never, ever wanted to work in my life. Right. But I found an unexpected passion for this business and for showing others that their dreams are possible. And so what you see, starting out, how did we get from point A to point B? Like, what did that look like? Here are some vision boards that we had. Over on the left, you'll see that was my very first vision board that I ever made. I had the trip to Hawaii. I wanted to earn emeralds. I wanted to take my family to the Great Wolf Lodge for a family trip. But first, I want to take you guys back a little bit, because as you see all of these things, you might not realize where we started from. And 7 years ago, my husband was unexpectedly let go from his job. We were 20 weeks pregnant with our second baby, and it was the week of my best friend's wedding and in December. Okay. And that started a series of what I call unfortunate events. And that next year and a half we struggled. It was really hard. Our kids ended up on Medicaid. We had $100,000 of student loan debt hanging over our heads, and we totally forgot how to dream because we were just in survival mode. And when we started Plexus, I started to dream again. I started to imagine what would that life look like. We started being proactive in creating the life of our dreams. And so time and time again, the things that were once just a vision on my dream board have now become our reality. And I want that same thing for you guys. I want you to dream about what that looks like. I want you to have a better future. I want you to dream bigger than you ever thought possible. I'm going to share with you on my dream board, on my current one. This is the one that I have on the background of my phone right now. Okay. Because this is a process that I do every single year, time and time again, always updating, always dreaming bigger. And you'll see on there's a book. And it says Medicaid to Millions by Phil and Megan. And when our kids were on Medicaid, my husband, he bought the URL for that website and said, one day we are going to write a book, Medicaid to Millions, and we are going to show other people what is possible. Now, at that time, I did not believe him. I didn't have those big visions and dreams, but now we are running together and we have those same visions and we have those same dreams. And so you might be looking on here and you're like, okay, that's great. Like, look at all those things that you guys have been able to accomplish. We paid off that $100,000 in student loan debt. We hit diamond, the top of the company, before my 30th birthday. We were able to move out to Tennessee and be closer to my parents, which is something we always dreamed of. We were able to cash flow a pool for our kids over the summer. And so there's so many different things. And I want that to inspire you, that when you start to get laser focused around what your dreams are, you too can make them become your reality. And a quick little shout out here to my business besties, my mom and Alita. What's super fun is that my mom and I swore that we were never going to do Plexus. And lo and behold, we ended up all ranking diamond in the same month, you guys, which is so crazy. And so it's fun to do this business with your friends, find people to link arms with and do that. And so what the pictures there are never going to show you is the late nights and the early mornings and the endless conversations that ended in no, and the many, many failures and the tears that were cried from moments of insecurity and fear and other people's opinions. There were breakthrough conversations. There were the feelings that were so exciting when somebody said yes, right? And the ripple effect of our determination. And so many times when we're looking at the highlights, we're looking at the highs, we're looking at the goals, we're looking at for those moments. And so many times as we're working our way up the mountain, to get to that peak, when we arrive, we wonder why we can't stay there, right? We wonder why we end up in the valley time and time again. But take note that nothing grows at the peak of the mountain. It all grows in the valley. And this is something that a jewel on our team, Victoria, had shared with us. And I wanted to share it with you too, because that's where the growth happens, you guys. It's not in the one moment of the dream happening on your vision board. It's about who you become along the way. It's about the lessons that you learn. It's the failures that happen. And you become a better person because of it, because you have to fall in love with the process. You have to fall in love with the steps that it takes to get to where you want to be, because those mountaintops, those moments, they're so few and far between, and they are just that. They are a moment, but we live in the valley and we grow in the valley. And so some of the things that we did in order to take our dreams and make them a reality, right? We started diving into mindset, started diving into personal growth, and started to dream big. And so one of my absolute favorite teachers and trainers is John Maxwell. We have this running joke in our house that if my husband shares something valuable, I'm not going to listen to it. But if 3 months later, John Maxwell says the same thing, then I'm game and I'm going to listen. And so John Maxwell is one of those people that has been such a mentor to me through this. And the next lesson that I'm going to teach you guys is something that was absolutely life-changing for me. And so he says that you change your thinking and you will change your life, because the way you think determines what you do and who you are. And so what's the number one thing that so many people lack? What do so many people lack? They lack belief in themselves. They lack belief in themselves. I have been in that boat, right? And I'm sure you have been in that boat. Either you're there now or it's going to come. We all have moments where we lack belief in ourselves. But beliefs are nothing more than a byproduct of what you have thought about long enough that you've bought into. You guys, that means that you can change your thoughts. You can change your thoughts. You can change your feelings. You can change your beliefs. All you have to do is think on these new thoughts often enough, and they will become your beliefs, because you have the ability to rewire your brain. God created it in such an amazing way that you have the power to rewire it. And so I want to share with you guys these are 5 thoughts about thinking that John Maxwell teaches on. And so the first one is everything begins with a thought. Okay, the thought is the originator of everything that is going on in our lives, you guys. Emerson once said, life consists of what a man is thinking about all day. So take some inventory. What are the things that you are thinking on all day long? First, you have to become aware of your thoughts. So what are you thinking on a daily basis? Is it negative? Are you tearing yourself down? Are you thinking things about yourself that you would never say out loud to another person? Everything begins with a thought. And what we think determines who we are, and who we are determines what we do. John Locke once said, the actions of men are best interpreters of their thoughts. Right? So if you ever wonder, well, I just don't know why I did that, or I don't know why I'm not taking these certain actions, or whatever that looks like, it can all be traced back to your thoughts and what you're thinking about. And so the process, you guys, is so simple. It's thinking, becoming, doing. Always. So many times we just try to change the action, change the action, change the action. Why do I keep not doing this? Or why do I keep doing this? But you guys, you're missing a vital piece. Change your thinking, right? It's thinking, becoming, doing. Change your thoughts and you will change your life. Our thoughts determine our destiny, and our destiny determines our legacy. James Allen said, you are today where your thoughts have brought you, and you will be tomorrow where your thoughts take you. You guys, your thoughts are like a taxi. You get in and it takes you to where you want to go. So if you do not like where you are going, or you do not like where you have ended up at, guess what? You have the ability to change that by changing your thoughts. And people who go to the top think differently than others. William Arthur Ward said, nothing limits achievement like small thinking, and nothing expands possibilities like unleashed thinking. So basically, there's two types of people, you guys. There are two kinds of people in the world: those who think in limitations and smallness, and those who think in creativity and unleash great thoughts within themselves. Which one are you? Are you the one who thinks limiting thoughts? Are you the one who thinks in smallness? Or are you someone who unleashes creativity? Because you guys, your thinking is the seed of what you're going to become and what you're going to do. All of the changes, everything, it all begins with your thoughts. If you don't change your thinking, you won't change your beliefs. And number 5 is we can change the way we think. If you can embrace this, if you can embrace and realize that you have the ability to change the way you think, it will completely change your life. One of my favorite verses that talks about it says, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think on these things. Do you know what that verse means? It means that you have the ability to choose what you are going to think about. It empowers you. It lets you know these things, you want to be thinking about them. You have the power to choose that. And if there's a thought that pops into your head that is not serving you well, you have the power to break up with that thought. You don't have to sit there. You don't have to think about it day in, day out, mull over it. If that thought is in your head and it doesn't serve you, you get to break up with that thought and you get to dismiss it. You have the power over your mindset to do that. Nobody else is going to do that for you. You have to choose to do that for yourself. And so one of the number one challenges to making personal changes, you guys, is feelings. How many of you say, oh, I just didn't feel like it today? I just didn't feel like showing up. I just didn't feel like doing this, right? This is the message that was incredibly powerful for me from John Maxwell. When I realized that I could change my feelings. Because if you don't make personal changes in your life, it's because you have some kind of feeling that is dominating you, right? And what I have learned is that everything, think about this, everything that we do or don't do is based off of a feeling that we want to feel or one that we want to avoid. Think about any actions or non-actions that you don't take. Why do you do or don't do something? We are emotional beings, you guys. We're emotional beings. That's the way that we were created. But just because you have these feelings doesn't mean you can't change them. That principle right there was incredibly life-changing for me, not just in my business, but in my marriage and as a mom, because I realized that I had the ability to change my feelings, because feelings are birthed out of what you think about. So if you realize you can control your feelings by controlling your thoughts. I honestly and truly used to believe that you could not change your feelings, that you felt the way that you felt, and that was never going to change. But I realized that is not true. You have the power to change your feelings by changing your thoughts. And so, speaking of mindset, right, of your thoughts of mindset, here's the thing. Mindset is so simple to do that most people don't do it. I was just on a coaching call the other day with someone, and we were talking about rewiring our brain and creating new thoughts. And I said, honestly, it takes just a few minutes every day of rewriting your story, telling yourself who you want to be, how you want to feel that day, what that looks like. And they said, Megan, that sounds so simple. And I said, that's the whole point. It is so simple to do that most people don't do it. And so if you're like, okay, I'm here, I'm listening to you, I am hearing what you're saying, that thoughts and mindset are so important. But you might be asking yourself, where do I even start to cast the vision? Like, what are some small steps that you can take every day to begin to master your mindset? These three things can absolutely radically change your life. And don't roll your eyes and say, oh, well, that's so simple. You guys, that's the whole point. That's because it is this simple. Okay. What you want to do, you want to start your day off with gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most underutilized personal growth tools that we have in our back pocket any day, anytime you can have gratitude. So you want to start your day with gratitude. Don't start your day with looking at your phone. Start your day with gratitude. Because here's the thing, you are not going to be able to complain and have a negative mindset when you're focused on the things that you are grateful for. If you are having low energy, think about three things that you're grateful for. You will immediately raise your energy levels. Gratitude is essential. The next thing, take 2 to 3 minutes to visualize your goals and who you want to be. You need to have intentional new thoughts that you are thinking, because your old thoughts that aren't serving you well, those grooves are so deep into your brain because you have told yourself them for so long and so many years, and you have bought into the lies. So in order to undo that, you have to be proactive. You have to be intentional with visualizing. You have to be intentional with deciding who you want to be and telling yourselves the opposite of what those negative things are. And here's the thing, you don't have to believe 100% that those new goals and those new dreams, you don't have to believe them 100% first, but you have to believe that they are possible. You have to believe that it is possible to happen. Okay. And then the next thing is read or listen to something for 10 minutes every day. And you can do more, but I'm just saying 10 minutes. If you were to do these three things every single day, I promise you that a year from now, your life would look radically different. Because when you change your thinking, you change your life. And these things, the consistency compounds, those habits, they build on top of each other. Because if you are operating out of abundance and gratitude, and you're spending every single day, a few minutes a day, visualizing where you want to be, where you want to go, you are going to start acting differently. You're going to start feeling differently. And when your thoughts are different and your feelings are different, your actions are going to be different. And then you always want to be pouring back into your mind. You always want to be listening to some kind of personal growth. You want to be reading something, whatever that looks like. It could be Audible. It could be a YouTube video. It could be a podcast. Whatever that looks like for you, always be pouring into your mindset so that you can grow. Because if you're here, you want to be a leader, right? You want to lead yourself, your family, your team. Well, what a leader does is they take the things that they are learning and they share it with others. It's really that simple. So if you want to have value to add to other people, right, you need to be adding value to yourself. And so now I'm going to take you on to the next part, which is evaluation. And so if you have the end of the year review, and you have that printed out, we're going to start going through some of those things. If you don't have it, don't worry at all. You can just screenshot some of these next slides and you can just write it out on a piece of paper. If you're someone who likes it in a pretty PDF, you can go to my website, themalakovics.com, and you can get yours for free. But just go with me through some of these questions. And what's really going to be impactful is after this call, take the time to dig deep into these questions. I always tell people that you are going to get out of this exactly what you need to get out of it. And you are going to, when you're willing to dig deep and you're willing to take time to pause your mind, to answer the questions, to go further into that, you are going to see huge changes. But so many times we're afraid to evaluate. We're afraid to evaluate and look back at things because it scares us. We're scared to think that, well, what if we did something wrong? Or what if it didn't work out the way that we thought that it was going to be? But mindset is huge when it comes to personal growth, but also evaluation is essential, you guys. And I want to tell you that your year was probably better than you even realized. As you start to go through some of these questions, you are going to have a mindset shift and you're going to realize, you know what? Maybe I didn't accomplish all the things that I set out to, right? Sometimes those visions, sometimes our timeline is off, and that's okay. You just have to adjust the timeline. Don't adjust the vision. But there are things that you learned along the way. You guys, it is not about accomplishing the goals and crossing those off. It is about the person that you become along the way and the lessons that you learn through failure, because we do not have success without failure. So I want to help you see that your 2022 was probably way better than you even realized. Okay. And what I have learned is that you can't know where you're going, right? And you can't figure out that future without knowing where you've been. You cannot figure out a map from point A to point B if you do not know where you're starting at. If you do not know where point A is and you have no idea where you're at, how are you going to create a roadmap? You're not going to be able to do it. So I want you guys to go back through and really, after this call, sit back and write out your answers to these. What were your biggest accomplishments? What were your biggest accomplishments and your proudest moments from the last year? It's so easy to look at the things that maybe weren't the best, but I want to challenge you to look at those things that were your biggest accomplishments and your proudest moments. And I bet that there are more there than you even realized. Then I want you to look and I want you to see what were some of your biggest frustrations and some of your most disappointing moments. Sometimes we don't want to look at these because we don't want to feel like a failure. But you guys, if you have learned from something, then it is not a failure at all. It's actually a stepping stone to success. And I want you to look at what was the hardest lesson that you learned, right? What was the hardest lesson that you learned? And what were some of your favorite memories? What were some of those favorite things that you did, that you loved? What were some of those thoughts that served you well that you want to keep repeating? What were some of those things that helped change your mindset and change the way you think? What were some of those personal growth aha moments that shifted your mindset throughout the year? Take the time and deep dive into these things. Now, this end of the year review guide, these are questions that I've put together, that I've asked myself, that I went through and did with my jewels. And I want to encourage you guys, go through these, write it out, and then take it to your team and have them go through and fill out the questions and do calls around that. Have them send you their answers to this, because you're going to get to know them a lot better. And you're going to get to know yourself even better too as you do it. This next part, this is 4 core evaluation questions. This is something actually that my husband taught me. And these questions we ask on the daily, okay? Because evaluation is such a key part of growth. We do this after dates. We do this after a crazy day with the kids. We do this after coaching calls. We do this after sip and sees, after events, after vacations. all different kinds of things. These 4 core evaluation questions, if you do them regularly, will help you have such a better understanding of yourself and will help you to stop repeating so many of the same mistakes. And it will help you repeat the things that are going really well. So the first question you want to ask yourself is, what went well in the year that I want to repeat? What went well that you want to repeat? So many times we don't even look back to know what was going well, so we don't know to repeat it. So take the time, write out what went well. And now you want to ask yourself, what didn't go so well that you don't want to repeat, and what did you learn from it? That's essential. Don't sit here and beat yourself up because something didn't go well. That's okay. It's okay, because you're going to evaluate, what did you learn from it? And what are some things that you don't want to repeat again in 2023? What are some things that happened last year that you don't want to repeat? You need to have awareness around that. What can I do differently next year? Right? What can I do differently? Because if you have awareness and you're willing to see it, and you have evaluation, right? And you're looking at this, now you know, what can I do differently next year? Maybe it's something that you need to think. How do you need to think differently next year? What does that look like for you? And the last question, if you will answer this one on a regular basis, you will become a powerhouse and unstoppable, because you are willing to look at this. The question is, what did I avoid and why? This is the breakthrough question. I love asking this question on coaching calls, because it helps people to have true breakthroughs and realize what is going on. So many times we can do things really well, but there's this one thing that we avoided. We chickened out. We didn't do something. We avoided a hard conversation. We avoided taking some action. We avoided something. And it's not just, what did you avoid? It's, why did you avoid it? This question right here has the power to change your life in so many different areas. What did I avoid and why? You gotta ask yourself that question and be honest and truthful and be willing to see why. The one thing in coaching calls that people are not allowed to ask, and Alita actually set this precedent, is they're not allowed to say, I don't know. You absolutely are not allowed to say, I don't know. If you say, what did you avoid and why? You name it and you say, well, why did you avoid it? You are not allowed to answer, I don't know, because the reality is you do know why, you're just unwilling to see it. And that is the piece of personal growth. You have to be willing to see it, because once your eyes are open to it, you can't unsee it. And now you're responsible to make changes. And that should be empowering. That shouldn't scare you, because now you know, okay, like, why did I avoid that? Okay, what thought was behind that? So if I change my thought, I change my feelings, I change my actions, I change my life. So those 4 core evaluation questions, you guys hold on to those. I have them, while I can rattle them off all the time very easily, save them in a note section of your phone and go back to them. Start making it a daily habit of just evaluating, asking yourself, what went well that I want to repeat? What didn't go well that I don't want to repeat? And what did I learn from it? What can I do differently? And what did I avoid and why? These questions will change your life. And start making evaluation a core part of who you are and what you do. And you will see massive leaps in your growth. Okay, here's the next part. See this little guy running off in the corner? That's how most people feel when they look at numbers. Okay, this is not going to deep dive into how to pull reports. That's not my thing. But what I want to tell you is, go back and look at your year. Look and see, what were your highest points? What were your highest recruiting numbers? And what were you doing 60 to 90 days before then? So many times we look and we're like, oh, look, March was a great month. And then you don't know why it was a great month, because you haven't looked back 60 to 90 days to what you were doing before. Let's stop being afraid to look at numbers this year. Let's look at our numbers and let's detach meaning from them. The numbers in your back office they don't mean anything, you guys. They don't mean anything about you, right? So we need to stop holding this emotional attachment to these numbers. And when we look at it, let's use them as the data that they are. And let's look at them so that we can make better adjustments and grow the way that we want to. So look at your highest points, look at your highest recruiting month for your team and for you personally, and then go back and look, what were you doing 60 to 90 days before? Were you running accountability groups, wellness events, in-person sip-and-sees? What did that look like? And then look at your total of level 1s recruited in the last year. Sometimes just having numbers helps us get a better picture of how we're actually running our businesses. And then look at how many level 1 silvers and above did you develop. A really good rule of thumb is if you're developing 20% of your level 1s to silver, that's a really great place to be in your business. So we're not going to run like this guy in the year. We're not going to be scared. We're going to look back and we're going to be empowered because we're just looking at data and it doesn't mean anything about us. Okay. So don't run from your numbers. Oh, where did those pictures go? There's supposed to be pictures on here that are really cute and they're not popping up, but that's okay. Just use your imagination of some really cute pictures that I had posted there. Oh, look, they're coming up. There they are, you guys. Okay. For goal setting for 2023, you guys, you want to set your intentions for the new year and the new goals. It's how do you want to feel? Because remember, everything that we do or don't do is based off of a feeling that we want to feel or a feeling that we want to avoid. So it's not necessarily about the goal that you want to achieve. It's the feeling that you are going after. So if you can start to be proactive, you guys, you can start to create the life of your dreams. And so go through, I like to do safe goals and scary goals. And if you have the printout, you might notice on there, it says big hair scary goals instead of hairy. And let me tell you, when I looked at that, I was like, oh no. But you guys all know what I'm talking about. Big, hairy, scary goals, the things that make you want to puke or vomit when you think about them. Okay. And so also, we're all not perfect. Right? So we make mistakes. We do things like I shared in the beginning. I'm a little messy. I'm a real person. Okay. But we cannot let perfectionism get in the way of us stepping into who we need to be. We can't wait until everything is perfect. B+ work will change the world. I promise you. And as a recovering perfectionist, I can say this is actually true. Okay. So you want to look at your goals, right? You want to put what's a safe business goal? One that you are probably most likely, without a shadow of a doubt, you're going to hit. That's a safe goal, right? But then what's your big, hairy, scary goal? I'll tell you guys what my big, scary goal is for the year. I want to have 2023 be my highest recruiting year ever as a diamond. I've been in this for 6 years, and this is going to be the year that's going to be my highest recruiting. That's what I've determined. When I say that, I want to hurl. Okay. So I want to show you guys that these are things, the things that I'm sharing with you guys. This is not just something that I did once. Okay. Setting these goals, vision casting, doing all of this. This is stuff that I have done over and over, because as soon as you set those goals and hit them, then you have another glass ceiling to go through. You have another bigger vision to go through. And it's something we're going to be doing our entire lives. And then you want to look at it and you want to say, what is your mission statement? And you want to figure out, like, really get laser focused around, like, who are you trying to serve? What are you trying to do? There's a girl in our team. I love her mission statement. Hers is, I help moms have full-time income from home while prioritizing their family. She's really, really passionate about helping moms work from home. Okay. I help moms have more energy and extra income so that they can have the options that they desire. I am really, really big on options. And so what is your mission statement? Maybe you don't even know what your mission statement is, who you're serving, what you're passionate about. Dig deep into that. And then what is your why? And if you want to really dig deep into your why, there's a book called Millionaire Success Habits. And in there, he talks about taking your why 7 layers deep, because it's not just surface level. You got to keep going and going and going and going and going. And I don't know why 7 is the magic number, but it is. And so if you want to dig deeper into that, go ahead, read that book, go through. He has the questions, and that's been really impactful. Then you want to set some different goals. You want to look at family goals, financial goals, personal goals. But what you want to ask yourself is, why is it important to me to accomplish that goal? Keep going layer by layer. Why is it important for me? Because if you just set a goal and you don't know why it's important for you to accomplish that goal, you're not going to do it, because on the days that it's hard and you don't feel like showing up, right, you're not going to. So you got to really dig down deep, and you got to figure out, why is it so important for you to be able to accomplish those goals? Okay. Now I'm going to stop screen sharing for a minute and I'm going to walk you guys through this vision casting activity that I have for you guys. And this is something that I've done this several times, and it is so impactful. And I want you to, if you have a pen and a paper and you're taking notes, I want you to jot things down that come to your mind as you are vision casting. Okay. I'm going to walk you through some words and some questions, and I'm going to play some music quietly for you guys. And I want you to take your mind to a place that maybe you have never even allowed yourself to get to before. Hang on, okay. Okay, you guys, so I want you to close your eyes. I want you, if just for 1 second, take a step back. Take a step back, take a step outside of your current situation. I want you to get out of your regular day-to-day lives, and I want you to get a bigger picture for your life. I want you to go to a place that you haven't gone before. It is so easy to just go into survival mode, to settle for where we are because it's comfortable, because it's what you've always known. Even though it's not easier, it's comfortable, it's familiar, right? It's not easier to stay in the same place that you are today. Life is short. I don't want you to wake up in 10 years and wish that you would have been able to take your family on more vacations, or that you would have been able to spend more time with your kids, or that you would have been able to do these extracurriculars with them. I don't want you to wish that you would have been able to go on more dates with your spouse. I don't want you to wish that you would have already had this debt paid off by now. I don't want you to wish that you would have been able to give more to those who were in need. I want you to be able to do those things. I want you to walk away from this knowing that you were made for more. We were not designed to just clock in, clock out, retire at 60, and then start living our lives. We were made to live our lives right now, right here. You were made for a purpose that is bigger than you. Stop limiting yourself and putting up these walls. We are going to bust through the glass ceilings. We are going to break through the walls that we have put up ourselves, because the only thing that is stopping us is our thoughts. And so I want you to close your eyes, keep them closed. I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to forget about your to-do list as it's probably creeping into your mind right now. I want you to forget about that to-do list. I want you to forget about reality for a minute. When we're being realistic, we are creating a limited reality. Forget about your reality for a minute. I want you to zoom out. And I want you to know that your past does not define you. And what other people have said about you does not define you. And your fears do not define you. You were made for a purpose, and you were made for so much more. You are an overcomer, and the generational curses will be broken because of you. You will leave a legacy and an inheritance for your children and their children. I want you to allow yourself to start to dream. I want you to allow yourself to go to a place that you have never been before. I want you to think about, what would you go after if you knew that anything was possible? No walls, no restrictions, no limitations. What would you go after? I want you to think about, what goals and dreams would you go after if you absolutely knew that you could do it? And I want you to attach emotion to them. I want you to visit that place in your mind, and I want you to picture it happening. I want you to get emotional about it. I want you to let yourself go to that space. Some of you have never let your walls down long enough to get to that space. You have big dreams in your heart and in your mind, and you don't let yourself go there. I want you to go there right now. I want you to go to that space. I want you to think about the ripple effect. When you go after your dreams, what is that going to look like? How are your kids' lives going to be different? How's your family's lives going to be different because you decided to do something different? You decided to change things. You decided to change your thoughts and change your life. You decided that you were going to break the chains that have been holding you back. I want you to think about what that's going to feel like to live into who you were fully called to be. What's it going to feel like when you have those funds in your bank account and you can live and give like never before? I want you to think, what's it going to feel like when you can buy that dream house and you can host those gatherings? I want you to think about what's it going to feel like to go on those trips that you've always imagined. I want you to think about the people you're going to be able to help. Let yourself get to that space that you have never gone to before. I want you to dream bigger than you have ever dreamed. And if you feel like you're being blocked and you can't dream any bigger, I promise you that you can. I want you to remove all limitations that you have placed on yourself and know that we serve a God who can do the impossible. I want you to know that you are blessed and you are loved and you are courageous and you are free and you are beautiful and you are victorious and you are chosen and you are gifted and you are valuable and you have a purpose and you are strong and you are important and you are loved and you are bold and you are a masterpiece. I want you to know those things. I want you to get to that space. Let your mind wander. Okay. So I have seen lots of people wiping tears. I always say that I really should tell people that I should tell people that, hi, I'm Megan and I'm a crier and I make other people cry too. But so many times we try to be strong for everyone that we don't let ourselves get to that space where we can actually be emotional, or we don't allow ourselves to get to that next space where we can dream big, because there's so many things coming at us all the time that we don't take those few moments to just pause and to think about, what direction am I heading? Where do I want to go? What is a bigger vision for my life? What does that look like 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road? You get to be proactive in creating the life that you want. You don't have to live a reactive life, right? You don't just have to react to the things that are happening to you. You get to take those things that you want and you get to create your reality. So you get to change your thinking and you will change your life. And so I want you guys, out of all the things that you heard tonight, right? Actually, before you do that, I want you, those visions and those dreams that you had while we were going through that exercise, I want you to make sure that you write them down. Do not let it just be a thing that you felt emotional about for a night, that you thought about, and then all of a sudden you start saying, oh, well, that's not reality. Because all that, when we start thinking realistic, we're creating a limited reality. That's what's happening. Okay. And we're not going to live in a limited reality, because we're lifting all those limitations off, right? The sky is the actual limit. Okay. You can go as far as you want to. It all starts with mastering your mindset. So write those visions, write those dreams down, and so that you don't forget about them. And then I want you to revisit them. And I want you to look at them often. And I want you to remember how you felt when you thought those things were possible. Remember that feeling and go back to that often. And I want you, now here's the thing about really big, crazy dreams. Not everyone is ready to hear your big dreams. When they are being birthed inside of us, they're like in this little cocoon, and you have to protect that, right? I want you to share those dreams, but I want you to share it with a trusted person who also dreams big. Okay, because those dreams are so delicate. I don't want you to go to someone who doesn't dream big, who doesn't understand, and then them say, that's a stupid dream, or that's impossible, or who are you to think that you could do that, right? We got to protect that dream, right? But we also need to surround ourselves with people who are going to dream big with us. You got to share it with them. You got to share it with those trusted people and tell them, hey, I know this sounds crazy, but here it is. And they should be cheering you on and encouraging you and saying, I think that's amazing. And I know that you can do it. Okay. It's important. But what I want you guys to do, you heard a lot of information. You heard a lot of different things here tonight, and different bits and pieces were going to stick out to you. And you had different aha moments where like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Okay. What I want you to do is I want you to take what was your biggest takeaway from this call, and I want you to write it down. So I want you to write down those visions that you had, because where there is no vision, people perish. Okay. We have to have a vision, a direction in which we are going. So I want you to write your biggest takeaway from this call. I want you to write it down. And then I want you to think, what action steps am I going to take based off of this aha moment? What was that one thing? Because sometimes we can hear so many different things and then we don't do anything about it. And that is not the purpose of this call. That's not what I want you to do. I want you to step into the fullness of who you are. I want you to take those dreams and make them a reality. Okay. So now you have the vision. You have the vision, right? And you know the mindset work that needs to be done. Start with those 3 simple steps that I gave you. Daily gratitude, 2 to 3 minutes of visualization, of rewiring your brain, and 10 minutes of reading and personal growth. I want you to take your visions, friend, and I want you to make them a reality. And I am cheering you on. And if you found value in this today, if you got a lot of value out of this and you want to dive deeper into vision casting, I've created a whole workshop that I think would be perfect for you. It's a step-by-step guide to take you deeper into the vision casting journey. We had almost 200 people who did this last year, and it helped them just gain a greater understanding of themselves and tangible tools to take them from point A to point B. But if you're someone who typically procrastinates and you know that you're not going to work through video content when you can, I also have a 4-week live coaching where I'll go through trainings for the workshop and I'll bring a few people on to be live coached. But most importantly, you guys, what I want you to know is I want you to remember that your dreams are possible. I want you to know that. And so you guys, thank you so much for being on here tonight, for dreaming big with me. Thank you for that. Thank you for spending your New Year's with me and being on this call. I appreciate it. And I am so excited to see your visions become a reality and hold on to the truth to know that your dreams are possible. So thank you so much, you guys.